Channel if you're new, and welcome if you are returning. Y'all, thank you for taking the time out of your day to stop on my channel and check this video out. I'm not going to keep you guys too long. I just want to apologize for coming on here looking like crap, y'all. The way I look is truly a reflection of how I feel, and that's extremely exhausted. Long story short, I just found out that my vitamin D levels are super low, which is common in melanated skin. However, I don't really understand why my levels are dropped. I've been outside a lot this summer. I did have a miscarriage back in May, and I had to have surgery in June. Not that I wanted to, but my body wasn't doing what it needed to do, and it was becoming a health risk, and I was at risk of becoming septic. So for that reason, I did have surgery, and it seemed like within like a week or two, I just became extremely exhausted. So I've been suffering from being extremely exhausted for like the last month or so. And like I said, I just got my test results back. I am not anemic, which I thought I could be just from the amount of blood loss and everything. But it's my vitamin D levels. So I'm trying to get my life together. I have started liquid vitamin D drops that I've been on for like the last 2 or 3 days. So hopefully that makes me feel better. Anyways, we're gonna jump into genetically modified mosquitoes. We're gonna jump into what's going on up in Massachusetts with the mosquito. So let's get right into it. So in case you haven't heard, there is a rare but deadly virus that is affecting Massachusetts town. It is in Plymouth, which is about, I think, 40 miles southeast of Boston. And what the town has done is enacted a partial nighttime curfew. And they said that has been confirmed after one human case of a rare and deadly disease spread by mosquitoes. The name of the disease is Eastern Equine Encephalitis, or known as EEE, and it has no known cure. Also has a fatality rate of about 33%. The people that do survive this disease, they do have a lot of ongoing neurological problems, according to the 3-letter organization. As of right now, health officials in 4 other counties have also urged locals to finish their outdoor activities by 6 p.m. and that's before the mosquitoes are most active until the end of the next month, and then by 5 p.m. until the first frosts arrive. They're also urging people across the state to use mosquito repellent when going outdoors, drain in and stand in water, which is typically what they want you to do, especially in the summer, because it doesn't take a lot for them to breed. Massachusetts health officials last week announced that an Oxford man in his 80s had become the first person infected with the virus in the state since 2020, which is really odd. What is this, August 2024, and he's the first person to become infected since 2020. Odd, because a lot of things happened in 2020. But anyways, he is in the hospital, it looks like, courageously battling the virus, which is good that he's, made it through the virus, especially with his age, because, a lot of times people in the elderly population, they do have a compromised immune system. Robbie Goldstein, which is a Massachusetts public health commissioner, is saying that it is a public health concern at this time. They want to remind residents of the need to protect themselves from mosquito bites, especially in the area of the state where we are seeing EEE activity. There's no treatment or vaccine. The symptoms include fever, headache, vomiting, diarrhea, seizures, with most deaths coming between 2 and 10 days after they begin. Looks like 216 human cases have been reported across the country so far this year. The highest concentration was in Texas. They didn't say like specifically where in Texas, they just named Texas. When seeing this story, I wanted to do a little bit of research, and I happened to type in genetically modified mosquitoes. I know a lot of people are really hung up on genetically modified foods, but you got to look into it. When you start going down the rabbit hole, y'all, of just genetically modified things, it's very alarming and very scary. But yes, there are genetically modified mosquitoes, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about those. So take from it what you want, and always do your own research. Genetically modified mosquitoes are mass produced in a laboratory to carry 2 types of genes: a self-limiting gene, which prevents female mosquito offsprings from surviving to adulthood, and a fluorescent marker gene that glows under a special red light. This allows researchers to identify GM mosquitoes in the wild. GM mosquitoes produce in a lab lay eggs which carry the self-limiting and fluorescent marker genes. So they're saying that these mosquitoes are used for mosquito control. It looks like when the eggs hatch, they develop into mosquitoes. These mosquitoes mate with wild females. The genes are passed on to the offspring. The expected result of using GM mosquitoes is that numbers of A.E. aegypti mosquitoes in an area decreases. here's a little fun fact for you. Since 2019, over 1 billion mosquitoes have been released. So let's talk about this a little bit and let me know what you think in the comments below. So a lot of people, I feel like everybody is just so hung up on genetically modified food. Like, yes, we know it exists. Yes, there's a lot that we can probably do about it and cannot do about it. But while everybody's looking at genetically modified food, there's genetically mosquitoes being made. And the thing about that is, just like, I gotta be careful with my wording here. Let's just say 2020 opened my eyes as well as a lot of people's eyes. There are things that can be created, man-made, tampered with, and who's to say that they're not doing this? If they can make viruses and create things and have cures for things and release them in a short amount of time, they say it's going to be released to say 18 months, you have a vaccine, and next thing you know, it's rolling out in a couple of months. This can be changed. Like, they can do anything they want to do. So they can infect mosquitoes with whatever virus that they want to get out there, and it can spread, because it's not like mosquitoes are staying in one place. You never know what can be done in labs or any kind of facilities. I think over the last few years, my eyes at least have been open to a lot of things. I know a lot of people's eyes have been open over the last few years, and just once you start going down a rabbit hole, you just dig, and you find things and you're learning things and your eyes are just being open to things and you're not blind to things. Well, I mean, I would hope that's the case, especially after 2020. But this is just an eye-opener and just something, you know, that you guys want to think about when, like I said, everybody's turned their head looking at genetically modified foods, but there are genetically modified mosquitoes right in front of us, and you don't even know which ones are genetically modified. At least we wouldn't, like the public wouldn't. Well, I don't know, because I've seen some huge mosquitoes that have been kind of questionable too. But yeah, you just really, like, to the naked eye, you're not going to know exactly what to look for. So who's to say that they're not infecting these mosquitoes that are, you know, grown in a lab and tampered with in a lab to carry diseases? I think there's a bigger agenda, and I think a lot of people will agree with that. I think there is definitely a population thing that is going on right now, and they are trying multiple things. They're doing anything they can at this point to I think their plans that they have for some things don't go as quick, or maybe as many people's lives are not lost as anticipated. So I think it's not too far-fetched to think that they'll do anything, or some other things have to come into play to kind of help. Whatever you think is fine. Feel free to leave comments down below. I will say this is just another reason that you want to prep and make sure that you have whatever you have in your household, because even though they are having a curfew from dusk till dawn, that doesn't mean that they can't enact some kind of other rule where it changes and you are at home. Like, will people probably protest? Yes. But I think after the 2020 lockdowns, a lot of people just have had enough and won't tolerate for a lockdown. Doesn't mean they're not going to try to encourage it. So you want to make sure that you're stocking up on your basics, your food, your water, your hygiene items, especially water. So I'm going to go ahead and end this video. This is definitely food for thought. Like I said, right now, this is basically like a Massachusetts area. It was going on in Texas as well, but like I said, there's all across the United States. This can happen anywhere. I know down here mosquitoes are bad, especially around like swampy areas, around water, you know, typical places and breeding grounds for mosquitoes. Make sure you're taking into account if you have severe allergic reactions to mosquitoes. I know some people swell up and have very bad reactions to mosquitoes, so keep that in mind too. You want to make sure that you're keeping any kind of bug repellent, if you use bug repellent, or look into natural repellents as well. There are many of them out there that naturally repel mosquitoes, whether you take, and there's also things that you can take. You can, you know, orally take things that are supposed to like ward off mosquitoes as well, is what I'm trying to say. So I'm gonna go ahead and end this video. Let me know what you think about this in the comments, and I will see you guys in the next video.